Okay. Um, so first of all, Oracle database. Um, the way Oracle database is structured is inside Oracle database, you will have schemas, and these are nothing but they can also be called as users. Okay. Now users will have database objects, and what are database objects are like tables, views, sequences, stuff like this. Okay. Um, Let me think of what else you can have. So when you get to PLSQL, you will be able to write procedures, functions, packages, triggers. Okay, and dot 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 is like some more stuff. Same thing here. Database objects. Here, these are also database objects. Only difference is to contact the tables, views, and sequences will use SQL, and also procedures, functions, and packages, they're written in PL/SQL. So, so just let's set up what is SQL. SQL is structured query language. And so if you go to any other database, let's say, for example, structured query language is a very standard language. Oracle uses it. SQL Server also has SQL. MySQL also has SQL. DB2 has SQL. Um, so if you pick any big database, like say Teradata supports SQL, because Informatica, you will be connecting to all different sources. So you have to understand that SQL is a very standard generic word, and all these databases support them. Now come to PL SQL. This is only supported in Oracle. So this is Oracle's product, and PL SQL means it is procedural, procedural, or what is it? Usha, do you remember what is PLSQL? This is interesting doubt I have. Okay. Um, Structured query language, SQL, programming language. This is strange. I forgot what is PL stands for. PL SQL. What? Okay, it is called procedural language. So it is procedural language, structured query language. Sorry for that. I just got confused. Uh, okay. So let's continue with the thing here. So procedural language, where you can write code, programs, and also embed SQL inside to write, like say, for example, stored procedures, functions, packages, and triggers. Okay. So we'll be using PLSQL only in Oracle. Okay. Now, when you go into job, generally this SQL is also called as CQL. Okay. Now, if you are like if you are showing some experience, then people will recognize if you're calling it as SQL, people might say something. So use this word SQL. I'm writing SQL. I'm writing SQL is the very experienced way of saying it. Okay. There's nothing but SQL. Uh, what else we can do for the introduction part? Like this is just basic introduction. Here, let me give you some example. You have schemas and users you're already aware of are Scott, and then you also have like say for example Scott, HR. Um, any other examples you worked with? These are the schemas or the users. within the database. And for tables, you also worked on employee table, department table. I'm just guessing some of the names. Any other names you can think of for your schemas, let me know. So Oracle already comes with something called sys-schema and system schema. These are two schemas provided by Oracle. Yeah, customer is one more thing. And when you go to the site, they might have many more names for these things. So system and sys-schema are something called data dictionary schemas. So data dictionary, okay. So I will give you an example of, let's say, for example, let's open an Excel sheet, okay? And so the way we write our phone book, let's say, for example, how do you design your phone book? Let's say you want to capture your friends' phone numbers, okay? So first thing you will write is, okay, what is the serial number? And what is the person name? Person name. And what is the location of the person, let's say? Location of the person. And then what is the phone number? Let's say for now you start with that, right? If you have any question, let me know. Let me increase the font size so that way we can see it very clearly. So, and also fit this into just height of the cell, row height, format cells. Actually here in the tools column, auto fit the selection. Okay. So now we start putting data, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's say person name ABC, XYZ, MNO, PQR. These are like, and forgot characters. SDF, let's say. Okay. Now location is Boston, let's say New York, then New York, New Jersey, let's say Atlanta. Phone number something. Okay. There is no character in there. Some phone number. So it doesn't matter what phone number. I just put some phone numbers there. Okay. So now what happens is you see how this is called data. So let me just highlight this as yellow color, and yellow color is data, right? Now, what is this here? Any ideas? The green color. What is the green color? Any ideas what is that green color is called? Actually, don't go very detailed like, columns and tables and stuff. But what is this thing? In general, this is the header, right? In database world, that is called metadata. So what is a metadata is data about data. Is that good? Good explanation of what in general database is like, what is data and what is metadata. Okay. So now let's take another example. Here you collected information about phone numbers. Let's say person phone numbers, right? This is mainly phone numbers. Let's go to another sheet. Let's generate something similar. But what we'll do is we'll think of it as a 3D zoom. We are going to move to next level. Let's increase the font again. And let's say, for example, you have now I'm going to write sheet here. This is phone numbers, right? Phone numbers. That is the table. Here I will say tables inside database. Okay. So first of all, username, user name, table name. Okay. Number of rows. Okay. So let's say, for example, username is Scott. He has an employee table that has 14 rows. Okay. Scott has DEPT table and it has 4 rows. Let's say, for example, HR has employees table, which has 106 rows. Let's say, for example, sales schema. So this is nothing but schema also, username or schema name, right? Sales has products. We sell 2 million products, let's say. Okay. We are like Amazon or something like that. We have 2 million products. And then sales has transactions. We have 100 transactions. 100 people only purchased so far because this is a new website. Okay. So if you look at this portion is, again, going back to our basics we learned just now. This is yellow is data, and this top thing is metadata, right? So that is just to explain this piece, right? But what is this information here, the highlighted information, entire schema and all that? So what it does is the database itself maintains maintains data about other objects inside the database, and that is called, any idea what it is called? Correct. They're all system tables, but this is called data dictionary. Okay. So who owns the data dictionary is the system itself owns the data dictionary, like say Oracle sys or system. These are all system tables. Now this particular table name is tables inside database, right? That's what I called it. So this is owned by system. Now this is a user created table. This is a system created table, and it is automatically maintained by the system. So database is a very structured place where we are keeping data in a structured format, and we can query our data based on what permissions we have. Okay. For now, what we'll do for today, let's stop it here. Let me see if you have any questions. I unmuted your mics. If we don't have any, ask any questions if you have. And then for tomorrow, what we'll do is tomorrow we'll continue again at, let me just open another window. Let's continue Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay. So any questions? Yes, Mona Lisa. Okay. Okay. So basically, I just did a Google, and somebody is saying what are the responsibilities. Okay, so let's look at them. What it means is, let me mute you again here. So what he's saying is, in general, whether it is, so right now, forget about whether you're an Oracle developer or a SQL Server developer or a Teradata developer, whatever developer. In general, they're saying you should be able to create tables and design some table structures, right? ER diagrams is nothing but, if you have a bunch of tables, how would you design that relations? So this particular piece, what does this mean is, you should know how to do normalization. So this particular piece, right? They're talking about how to do normalization. How do you create tables by designing them? So this is like entity relationship designing. Now, this will not be your responsibility if you have a DBA. Probably DBA will create those designs and tables just to have better performance. But let's assume that you should know a little bit about how you design. Sometimes they use like Erwin kind of products. Erwin is one of the products they use for designing these things. There are other products which are also available in market. Generally, if company doesn't want to pay for products or the tools, you just do it with hand on paper and then create tables for them. Generally, it is very structured. They document how you do it and all that. Now, then the second responsibility, let's see what it says is, create database objects. We talked about these objects like tables, views, stored procedures, triggers. That means we already discussed here. If you know how these things are, you should be able to create them. Okay, so we are going to do some examples so you will learn. So what they're saying is, you should have a knowledge about how you will be creating these things, right? Now, maintain referential integrity is nothing but, you should be able to create constraints like primary key, foreign key, check constraints, and all that. Domain integrity, column integrity. This is all part of the constraints here. And you can see here it says available options such as constraints. That means when you say constraints, there are constraints like, so for example, primary key, foreign key, even before primary key is null, not null, primary key. Let me just type it as PK. Foreign key is FK. Then there is a sorry, check constraint, and I'm thinking foreign key, primary key, check constraint, unique constraint, right? Sometimes they have something we were discussing today morning. There is something called surrogate key. I don't know how the correct spelling is, but there is a surrogate key. Okay. This is just a theory. It is not in practical. In practical, you just create an index or something like that. But anyway, you should have knowledge about these constraints and how to implement constraints. Identify columns for primary keys on all tables, design, create them. So when you do the entity relationship diagram, you will be actually working with relations, which is referential integrity, and primary keys, obviously. Then create functions to provide custom functionality per requirements. Be aware of potential blocking, deadlocking, writing code, and avoiding situations. Now, once you start writing PL SQL in Oracle at least, you will be able to tell what is this potential blocking, deadlocking, and all that. Um, Endure, that code is written keeping in mind that security issues such as SQL injection. This is not an easy topic. It's more like hacking related topic, where how people hack and how can you protect yourself from hacking. So far from here to here, this is a very generic example of whether it is SQL Server or Oracle or Teradata, it is same thing. But here they are saying you should be able to write reports in SQL Server reporting services. Then also SSIS is a SQL Server integration services. And then it says identify best practice to upgrade your code to the latest versions of SQL Server. participate in discussions, develop data warehouses. So it's a wide range of things, but what they're expecting is um, there is more in SQL Server. It's just these wordings, right? See, SSIS also exists in Oracle in a different form. So don't get confused with the names. There are so many names in each. See, analysis services. This is one more thing. Every database has different naming, and there are so many options. So what I think you should do is just categorize all these things. First, you should know somebody is talking about SSIS, let's say. Just somebody simply comes to you says, "Do you know SSIS?" So first of all, without having a hiccup, you should be able to tell that this is SQL Server in your mind at least, right? SQL Server integration services. Okay. And then also you should have in mind what does it do? Okay. Let me show you example. Somebody says SSRS. Okay. What does this mean is SQL Server reporting services. Can you guess what it does? What is the guess here? What does this product do? Writes reports. Correct. Exactly. Okay. So exactly generates reports. So now this SSRS is in SQL Server. Let me give you an example of similar stuff. Let's say, do you know, somebody is asking this question, do you know SSRS, right? That's the question. So same way, somebody says, do you know Apex? Okay. First of all, where did this Apex come from, right? So it is product of Oracle. Oracle has something called Apex. Okay. And this can be used for writing reports. So let me ask you one more thing. Do you know XML DB? Okay. So what is this? Any guess? Not exactly. You can no, not exactly. Okay. So let's break this down. Okay. So in a general database, you are storing data, right? In a XML DB, you will store XML database. Okay. Instead, yes, Mona Lisa, that is exactly correct. Parse and generate XML, but also it is a XML store. Okay. So this is a database of XML storage. Okay. Now this is a product from Oracle. Other other people have, but they call it something else. Okay. So I think key here is to when you're looking at job, but when you go for that interview or something, key is to understand this jargon. Meaning, if you show that you have 2 years of experience, you must have come across these things already. You should know which product has what. So what you can do is whenever you hear, let's say for example, today we are talking about this, make a notes. Have a white sheet for Oracle, have a white sheet for SQL Server, have a white sheet for Teradata, and start putting down whatever you hear. And then whatever you come across when you're doing Google or any other search, you're watching a video, try to categorize them so you will learn all these words like SSRS, Apex, XMLDB. New thing. If you talk about this CQL, right? This one, there is something called in the new world. There is something called CQL. Okay, people started calling CQL, and this is nothing but Cassandra Query Language. Okay, and this is used with Apache Cassandra. So anyway, I think we discussed a lot today. And I tried to answer your question is what is the job role of a SQL developer? That was the question you asked me. Like this is what I typed here. What happens is everybody expects differently. Like, some people might think it is only Oracle related. Some people think it is only SQL Server related. In general, the general responsibility is to know about database and maybe pick one database and be strong on that. Other things will become easy for you. Okay. And hopefully the thing we are trying to do here to learn about Oracle, I think that will give you some clarity on that. So any other questions? Okay. So good. So that's all for tonight, and we'll continue tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern. Thank you.